Well, hello, everyone. Welcome,
Hello.
welcome to social media. We are so happy to have everyone here with us today. We got somebody online already making comments. Hey, Mishi. Good afternoon, sis. Look at you. You was ready for it. We're just gonna just take a few minutes and let folks join us online.
Hello, hi, my name is Yolanda Owens, and I'm the founder of IWIFresh Farm to Skin Spa, located in downtown Atlanta, Georgia, in the Castleberry Hill neighborhood. What inspired me to create IWIFresh was my lovely grandmother, who was a home remedy queen. She inspired me to want to make products for the skin, for the whole body from the farm. I just recently collaborated and partnered with another Yolanda named Yolanda Neals. We have created a IWIFresh Farm Oasis, which is healing in the community. We created a healing wellness center right in Lakewood in Atlanta, Georgia.
We are a cornerstone of healing in our community 365 days, 24 hours, right here in the city of Atlanta.
We've also collaborated in the Healing Center with 15 small black businesses that are doing healing modalities from Reiki to sound therapy to reflexology to acupuncturist to chiropractor to mental health, waist beads, yoni steam. We even have a sauna in there, right smack dead in the community, and we're so excited about it. During this time of the COVID pandemic, we've had a lot of support through a lot of corporate sponsorships like New York Times, GoDaddy helped us out, created a documentary on us. We had Visa, Square, Pandora. We've had a lot of corporate sponsorships that's been supporting us through this whole pandemic, and we can reach out to the community because we need your support. The campaign will start December the 20th. Just follow us on our digital platform so you can get all of the information, all the instructions. But we really need your support because this is a healing effort that's for us, by us, and with us. Thank you.
And we thank you for all of your support. Your donations mean everything for us to keep this going and for us to be able to lift ourselves up through this pandemic.
What better way to get a pre-introduction to our facilitator for today, Yolanda Neals. But before we bring on our amazing facilitator, we want to go to the root of her very essence. Here with us today, we also have the amazing Gwen Lanier, who is one of the co-founders of Mothers of Hope. And Gwen is going to give us a really nice welcome and share a few words as well about Mothers of Hope, the organization. So, Miss Gwen, good morning, beloved.
Good morning to you, Miss Stephanie. Hi, everyone.
Morning.
So, let me tell you a little bit about myself briefly and about Mother Hope. But first, please allow me to give all thank you and praises to God for Him allowing me to be alive yet today. And Mothers of Hope was started a little more than 20 years ago when my job allowed me to serve on a committee called Laura's House, which at that time had several directors from different nonprofits that was on a committee together with the intent to open a women treatment center where they could attend and bring their children with them. I was pretty excited to become part of that vision, and I suggested to them that they created an ad hoc committee which would give them advice. That was a group of women that was in recovery. They went along with it. We created this group of women that were in recovery, and they named themselves Mothers of Hope. That's how we were born. 9/11 happened, and the Lower House Committee had been meeting about 3 years. They had not got a building yet and had not opened. So what they decided to do was to disband. The women that were named Mothers of Hope had been meeting then about 2 years, and we decided to stay together but come up with a new purpose. So we started doing presentations in the community to anybody that would listen about recovery and the importance of recovery and how that process worked. And so we used to do presentations for foster care and for churches. And Dr. Liebman had us set up to do presentations for potential doctors. And as we journeyed on, we continued to find other needs that we could help the community address. We have the privilege now to be our headquarters at 603 8th Street, and we're still going. We have a youth program where we teach some youth to play the piano. That program is free. We do a Christmas program where we started out the first year with 20 kids, and I think this last year we had almost 100. And we do a lot of events similar to this, like this event today. And we try to work with people already in the community that are already doing certain things, and we bring the community together so that they can provide us with the services that they already offer. And I'm really grateful to have this privilege. Matter of fact, today we had our president of our board of directors is just celebrated 32 years clean this week, abstinence from all mood, mind altering substances. And I'm having the privilege today to work with my two daughters, which is Yolanda Neals and Stephanie Williams. And that's a good example of how families can be brought back together and then do service together. Thank you so very much.
Well, thank you. Is this, I believe this is my space.
Well, I appreciate that. I sorry I had a little delay there. Thank
Okay.
you for welcoming everyone. Ms. Gwen, do you want to remind everyone where Mothers of Hope is located?
Again, I would like to say 603 8th Street.
All right, awesome. So without further ado, we look forward to bringing to you someone who is near and dear to me, actually my shero, Yolanda Neals. She is a Kalamazoo native. She currently resides in Atlanta. She's a published author. And now a co-owner of Iwi Farm Oasis in Atlanta. And you will learn a little bit more. The video that we showed gave you some information about Iwi. But Yolanda has been doing healing work, is a healer. And I'm so excited to have my only sister here in the studio leading us today. So Yolanda, I'm going to turn it over to you, sis.
Ashe, Ashe. Good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to be in this space with you all this afternoon, talking about something that I love to talk about, which is love, which is self-love, the love that starts within us and is inherently ours divinely, that we get to share with ourselves and others. And as much as we love ourselves is what we'll begin to experience outside of ourselves. So if you feel loved and awesomely on top of the world, it's because you're showing yourself some awesome love. If you're struggling to be loved in relationships, to have loving interactions outside of yourself, it's probably because it's time to give yourself more love, to pour more love into you, to allow yourself to invest in yourself in a way that'll get you over the hump of whatever is causing you not to be loved the way that you desire to experience it. And so today we're going to have some wonderful conversations. We're going to do what I like to call a heart exchange. We're going to, instead of passing the mic, we're going to share our hearts. And we're going to exchange our hearts from one sister to another as we discuss how we're able to love ourselves and be examples of self-love that in a ways that gets us through anything that is put before us. You know, we can move mountains with our own divine powers. And the number one power is love, and being able to develop or attract tools that help us connect deeper with love is how we get through things lovingly. You know, so that's what the conversation today is going to be about. And what a wonderful time to have it than the weekend of Valentine's, right? During Black History Month, where we get to celebrate ourselves double. We get a double dose of love here, right? Because we get to celebrate as we're being celebrated, and we get to love on ourselves as we're being loved on. So with no further ado, we want to jump into some of these heroic her stories that we will use to empower. But there's a young lady that I've come across. Someone introduced me to, actually an empowerment coach that I work with that is amazing, introduced me to this young lady's music. And I wanted to open up our conversation as we just sort of listen to this song and just meditate and marinate in the words that she's saying in terms of how we're showing up as women, loving on ourselves and then each other, like that woman code, that girlfriend code, that sister code that we get to plug into and stand on as we, you know, exude the love that we have within. So Stephanie, if you could go ahead and share Womanista.
So actually, Yolanda, keep going while I work out some stuff.
Okay.
Let's share some stories and I got to come back to it. I apologize.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll dive into some stories then. While she is preparing to be producer of the year, which is cute because she's such a producer. We'll go ahead and dive into some personal stories and then glue it all together with the Womanista song. So I want to start with the reason why we're here on this platform celebrating Mothers of Hope. Gwen Lanier, would you like to share your personal story of how you overcome? We thank you for sharing your story regarding. I'm looking at the list. Should I not look at the list? Okay. Okay. Well, we're going to go with Miss Daphne Ben. Would you like to open us up with sharing your own personal story of love and being loved, loving, and lovable?
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Daphne Ben, and most of you know me as Daphne Sparkle's Queen of Bling, Paparazzi. Just wanted to share, I had so many different stories to share, but I wanted to share with you one of the journeys that I have gone through. In June 2017, I was married on the 16th. And 6 days later, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So as most of you know, or some of you know, I'm going to let you know that, I don't have time for that. So, I was diagnosed. I didn't say why me. It's because, everybody has a plan. God has a plan for everybody. So I was diagnosed. And then my husband, who I married 6 days earlier, was diagnosed 3 months later with sarcosis and prostate cancer. So, woo! I think God brought us together because we needed to love each other. We needed to take care of one another. So as I went through my journey of breast cancer, we through chemo and through radiation, I looked at ways that our community can be proactive with going through their journey. I had such a great opportunity there when I went through. Everybody was wonderful, and I wanted everyone to have the same journey, because when you're diagnosed with cancer, the first thing you think of is, oh my goodness, I'm going to die. This is not right. I can't handle it. But, positivity and saying that, we're going to get through this is what you need in that time. And of course, you need those um, friends and family that are very supportive. So, with that, because I'm driven to say, I don't have time for this, do what you need to do, but I got to get back to my life, and I have to love myself, and I have to love my husband who I just married and make a great life. I wanted to make sure that other people as well um, understand the journey, what they can go through, not have to worry or feel that anxiety and depression, and that you can love yourself no matter what you're going through. So, if anyone has questions about cancer journey or being first diagnosed with cancer, I'm always open to talk to. You can always come and, I try to help advocate for people who are going through this journey, because again, everybody takes it a little bit differently. I said I didn't have time for it, so I was going to make the best of it, and I was not going to let it get me down. So just wanted to say good afternoon, and I love that I'm part of the panel of healing and love.
That is a beautiful story to get started of. Thank you for sharing your heart with us, because one of the things that really help us get through is knowing that we're not in this by ourselves, that this is something that somebody else has been able to be triumphant with. And mindset is everything. How you approach something, or how you choose or decide in that moment to go through something, sets the course for how you're going to experience it, right? And so even yours is, I ain't got time for this. I got other stuff to do. Let me deal with this. Let me get this done so I can get back to doing what I came here to do. Love on my husband, have this new life, or just live my life to the degree that I want to live. So that's very empowering, because the way that our system has been set up, we can be very easily disempowered just by the thought of, or being the onset of being told we have a challenge before us, because that's all it is a challenge. How you internalize the challenge and how you decide that you're going to deal with the challenge can make all the difference. So thank you so much for sharing that, Daphne. So our next heart, we're going to pass to Miss Denise Crawford to share with us your story of love, loving yourself, and getting through something with love, because we understand that there's two things here present. There's love and there's fear, right? Fear usually takes us dwindling down into the rabbit hole, and love usually brings us and pulls us up towards the light. So share with us your story of love and how you got through what you've come through.
Excellent. Well, thank you. And it's quite interesting. My story is somewhat similar, and so I was thinking, well, wow, her story was so powerful. Let me see if I can come up with another one real quick. But seeing how I'm going right after her, I guess I'll just have to stick with the original story that I had planned. But similar to the young lady before me, and absolutely shout out to her, and I really want to acknowledge and lift her up. I too went through a brief stint struggling with cancer. But to set the background a little bit, I had recently been brought into a position where this was my first CEO position. So I was over a new healthcare facility, and just within that, it was really giving me an opportunity to come back to a community and give back. So a lot of my heart and focus was in it. I was working in a predominantly African American community, one that I felt the county as a whole had turned its back on, and so there was just a whole lot of focus and faith that I had in really reviving this environment. So fast forward, we had been keep in mind, this is at the heart of the healthcare reform. And so there's a lot going on. The whole bubble has burst. And so to help you set the stage, the economy is in a downward spiral. So this is 2008, 2009, and everything is on fire. People are struggling, etc. So we're applying for all these grants. Obamacare is a vision. It has not come to fruition at this particular time, but we're trying to plan for this additional 26 million people having access to health care. So in this preparation, all of these grants become available. And so at the particular time, we apply for the largest grant awarded to a health center in Kalamazoo County. And it happens to be a capital expansion grant. No one believed that we could even remotely come close to achieving it, but I'm a new CEO. I'm young, I'm naive, I'm hungry, I'm determined, and so we go for it. Lo and behold, we are awarded this grant, this $10 million grant. It's set, some of the special details is you have to be shovel ready. You got to be ready to get out there, get in the ground, get people to work, and get moving. So the grant comes, we're ready. The lieutenant governor comes down. We do the whole groundbreaking ceremony. And 2 weeks later, I'm diagnosed with cancer. In most cases, and I think that's the beauty of being a Black woman, we have to be careful because we try to do it all, but in most cases, people would fall apart. To my sister before us, I was like, now is not the time. Let's get this cancer going because we got a building to make. We got to transform these lives for these people. So at that particular moment, and again, this is the beauty and this is our curse, and I really lifted up to where we have to be careful. But in my mind at that time, I was like, I am not missing a day. Whatever this cancer has to do, we're gonna do what we have to do. But I am not missing a day at this location. This building is going up. We're gonna be on budget. We're gonna be on time, and we're gonna make it happen. And so interesting when I look back, the end of the story is we had the surgery. I had the tumor removed. It was at the base of my brain. We did remove it. All praises be to God. Things happened. I did have chemo. I had to have radiation therapy. It was interesting. My therapy was every morning for 10 weeks. And so I made a decision at that particular time that we needed to the very first appointment. So I told him my radiation was in Ann Arbor. Because of a lot of particular details, we decided that we needed to have it where the specialists were, where a lot of things just had fallen in place. Again, lifting up praises, that we needed to have it at the oncology and at the radiation center in Ann Arbor at University of Michigan. And so, my husband, who was right there by my side, he was like, I got you. And so he was determined. So we needed to be the first patient, which that first appointment was 7 a.m. So we got up every single morning at 5 a.m. He drove me to Ann Arbor. We were there by 7. I was the first patient. Radiation is, those of you who have been through it, it's very quick. So you go in, it progressively goes up longer, but your first appointment's, 5 minutes, then 7, and you get to 15. You never get really past 15, 18 minutes, etc. We get on the table, do the radiation, and then get back in the car, drive back home so I could be in that office by 9 a.m. I say all that to say I never missed a single solitary day. I was in that office every day by 9 a.m. Now, no one said I had to do that, but that was my focus because I was determined to get this building up and make sure that I delivered on this community and that I gave back to our patients. And I'm proud to say, we've been able to do that and so much more. But most importantly, it also became my healing because I never really focused on the cancer. That wasn't the issue. I was so caught up in drawings and architecture development that became the history. So, that's just my little story on resilience. And I think we all have it in us. So thank you.
That is a major story of resilience, sister. Like, kudos, right? Because we, like tea bags, we don't know how strong we are until we hit that hot water, until the challenges in our lives show up. And then that's when you get to pulling on all your faith. You find out how strong you really are in that moment. And one of the tools that we are blessed to be able to have to use is focus. What is your focus? Are you going to give in to the fear of this diagnosis? Or are you going to stay aligned with the desires of your heart, right? And if the desires are, I'm young and I'm getting ready to pave this road for myself, then that's what I'm getting ready to do. I'm getting ready to focus on that, and then believe in everything else. Believe that everything else is going to be okay, because you do your part, God's going to do the rest, period. Right? So that was wonderful. And the beauty of you sharing your cancer story right after another survivor story is that it just imprints into our community our ability to be so resilient, right? Our ability to overcome, because the diagnosis is not an automatic death sentence. It's an opportunity for us to stop and take care of ourselves. That's really what it is. It's a little note from the divine that says, okay, we need to do some work on ourselves right now. I know you got the rest of the world that you're supporting and saving, but we got to do some work for you. So we're making you a priority right now. And it can be that simple. So thank you so much, Denise, for sharing that very powerful and impactful story, because like Daphne, not only are you all here to tell it, but you all have tangible outcome. Like people can go and see the health center and how much it's grown. And now they know the backstory that you did all of that while going through this. The same is with her business. So thank you very much for sharing your story. Ashe.
Hello, hi, my name is Yolanda Owens, and I'm the founder of IWIFresh Farm to Skin Spa, located in downtown Atlanta, Georgia, in the Castleberry Hill neighborhood. What inspired me to create IWIFresh was my lovely grandmother, who was a home remedy queen. She inspired me to want to make products for the skin, for the whole body from the farm. I just recently collaborated and partnered with another Yolanda named Yolanda Neals. We have created a IWIFresh Farm Oasis, which is healing in the community. We created a healing wellness center right in Lakewood in Atlanta, Georgia.
We are a cornerstone of healing in our community 365 days, 24 hours, right here in the city of Atlanta.
We've also collaborated in the Healing Center with 15 small Black businesses that are doing healing modalities from Reiki to sound therapy to reflexology to acupuncturist to chiropractor to mental health, waist beads, yoni steam. We even have a sauna in there, right smack dead in the community, and we're so excited about it. During this time of the COVID pandemic, we've had a lot of support through a lot of corporate sponsorships, like New York Times, GoDaddy helped us out, created a documentary on us. We had Visa, Square, Pandora. We've had a lot of corporate sponsorships that's been supporting us through this whole pandemic effort. We can reach out to the community because we need your support. The campaign will start December the 20th. Just follow us on our digital platform so you can get all of the information, all the instructions. But we really need your support because this is a healing effort that's for us, by us, and with us. Thank you.
And we thank you for all of your support. Your donations mean everything for us to keep this going and for us to be able to lift ourselves up through this pandemic.
Yes. We are in the battle of making this a reality for our new wellness center. And you can support us by texting the word Oasis to the number 24365. That's Oasis to the number 24365. We're 24 hours, 365 days a year for our community. So thank you, Stephanie, for sharing that again. We want to welcome Shona into the heart seat. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I am wonderful. So, as we are in this space collectively sharing what's on our hearts as it relates to how we've loved our way through experiences, won't you exchange with us something that you've come through?
Well, growing up, I experienced like probably any type of abuse that you could think of. Um, so it took me a long time to realize that I was important and I was worth the struggles. Um, I was going down like a horrible path. If it wasn't for me having my daughter at a young age, I probably wouldn't even be here because I didn't think I was worthy of living because I didn't feel that growing up. But I have four beautiful children, two of them that are adults. I just have a grandbaby not that long ago. So I took my struggle after I had my daughter as all the bad things that I went through. I looked at it like it made me be a better person and want to be a better person for my children because they deserve the world just like anybody else. But because I had my daughter so young, it made me realize that my life was worth it and everything that I went through helped me become a better person and a better mother. So even though you've been through horrible things as a child, teenager, and adulthood, take that and turn it around and make it a positive because you're blessed to be here and you're blessed to bless other people in your life. Just
That's
love
right.
yourself and always love yourself because you're important and you're what's important. God gave you these obstacles for a reason. And I know God knew I was a strong woman and it made me a strong woman.
Yes, 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 yes. You know, that is powerful to be able to be so honest and transparent because so especially today, what has happened during this pandemic
Mm-hmm.
is all of the issues that we've already had that we were kind of silently struggling through have been exacerbated. Like they come straight to the top and they're like, we are here for healing. Like heal
Yeah.
me, heal me, heal me. So anxiety is through the roof. Stress
Yeah.
is through the roof. Depression is through the roof. The thing is, it was already there, but
Mm-hmm.
we get so caught up in having to maintain and sustain ourselves that we can push it to the back a little bit. But now that the divine has set us up as a planet to all sit still and be a little quieter as we kind of shield ourselves from this pandemic, it's there more presently.
Mm-hmm.
What
And you
what do
need
you
to take.
have to say to the young woman, the middle-aged woman, the elderly woman who went through a lot in their childhood and haven't had a chance to really deal with it, but there's so much stuff up for healing regarding it now? What would be the love that you share with them, given everything that you've come through?
That you gotta realize that you gotta forgive. Don't forget, forgive
Yeah,
and
yeah,
move
yeah.
on because if you don't forgive, it's gonna hold you down and you're never gonna overcome it. So you
Yeah,
gotta forgive and love yourself and keep moving forward and always realize that share your story because that's the most important thing because your story is gonna help somebody else and if you have depression, anxiety, all that, it is what makes you who you are. And remember that you're a beautiful person and you're gonna strive so far in life if you just keep looking for the positives in your life and just take the negatives and turn them into positives.
absolutely. All of that is powerful. That is absolutely powerful. Because again, so many of us tend to think that we're in this all by ourselves, that we don't want to be judged. We don't want people to look at us differently. So we just act as if nothing's wrong, nothing's going on, that we've not really been through anything. And it doesn't help it just suppresses it until it explodes, and you ain't got no other choice but to deal with it. So thank you, Shona, so much. That's a beautiful, thank you so much. I wrote a book about my own childhood traumas, and I've pretty much been through a little bit of everything. And it wasn't until I finally got the courage to share that story that I started to connect with all these other women across the country who had been through basically what I'd been through plus more. And we're united on a front line that says we don't have to live like this no more. We don't have to suffer in silence regarding this anymore. We are enough, and we're just as good as everybody else. It's just time for us to take care of ourselves. So again, thank you for sharing the beautiful journey that you have in terms of taking care of yourself and setting a new platform for the new generation. Because I tell you, the grandbabies change you. I got 2 of them, and the grandbabies make everything worthwhile. So thank you again. So we're going to go into this song here. It's called Womanista. And I like for everybody to just really get quiet and close your eyes, or just, as my mentor would say, close your eyelids, and be present to the words that this sister is spitting. And then let's have a conversation afterwards. Thank you. You can go ahead and play it, Stephanie. We can't hear anything of this playing. Uh-oh. So why don't we go to the next story while you figure that out? And I believe the next story is Christy. And we thank you all for your patience as we move through these technical difficulties. Those of you that know me know that the first thing I'm going to say is Mercury is in retrograde, and all your technological challenges are, have an excuse right now. So welcome, Christy. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Heart seats. So you've heard the triumphant stories of these other sisters. By all means, exchange with us from your heart, your story.
Thank you. First of all, I want to thank you guys so much for having me. I'm usually in the audience of these things, and just hearing these incredible stories before me, I just think, oh, little me is supposed to share. But Stephanie asked me to speak on resilience and encouragement. And so when I think of resilience, 3 faces immediately pop into my head: my great-grandma Sarah, my grandma Rita, and my mom. 3 Black women, 3 Black mothers, 3 women who did whatever it took to stay afloat, all while making it look easy. My mom's a God-fearing woman, but I think we're sisters talking, as Stephanie told me. So now that I'm 25, at this age, my mom had 3 kids. I look back at even more awe, because I couldn't imagine facing the tribulations, microaggressions, and pressure we face as Black women with 3 kids to raise alone. Every sip of wine, Mom, makes sense now. I'll say that now. I recognize a key difference between me and the 3 generations of women who inspire me is that I don't have any kids. I'm making a conscious effort to not have kids until I'm certain I can provide a lifestyle with even greater opportunities than I have now. I just want to build on that foundation my mother worked hard to build for me. So now I've got work to do to keep building and breaking generational curses, as people say. So while the force that drove my mom, my grandma, and great-grandma to stay steadfast, their why was mostly because I've got mouths to feed, my why is a little different. Each morning when I want to quit, what keeps me going is the fact that whatever path I take and glass ceiling I break, I'm making it easier for the next brown-skinned, coily-haired, ambitious Black girl. But as we know, and as the Black woman who spoke before me, that's not easy at all. I'm an executive producer at a local news station in the West Michigan area. I've always been a storyteller and a writer, because of my grandma Rita. So being a journalist has always made sense to me. But I'm from Birmingham, Alabama, and my mother moved us out to the country when I was 9. And she was the age I am now, 25. The public school system was much better. The housing there was affordable for her. But as we know how systemic racism works, this meant my small town was predominantly white. We were actually the first Black family in my cul-de-sac, and you could tell. I experienced some of the most blatant, heartbreaking racism, but also the subtle, organized side as well. In school, even as I sat in class next to white boys who would mumble racist jokes under their breath, or as I would argue with white kids about why they couldn't use the N-word just because they listened to rap, as I answered to teachers who called me Khadijah instead of Christy because we all look the same, right? I still somehow managed to graduate valedictorian. We as Black women know how hard it is to stay strong, steadfast, even while being dealt not even the short end of the stick. It feels like we get thrown a broken twig, if that, honestly. Fast forward to the next stage in my life. This leads me to the University of Miami in Florida. They have a great broadcasting program. But most importantly, my time here at an institution with other Black scholars, it helped me to unlearn some of that racial conditioning that seemed to sneak into my unconscious growing up in Clear, Alabama. So to sum up that experience, I found my Black voice. Today, that's the title of a segment I've started at my news station where I'm the only Black woman in the building, Black Voices. I now get to do work where I advocate for and elevate the voices of my people who've been silenced and misspoken for, but also advocating for myself because, as I mentioned, I'm the only Black woman at my news station and now a manager. So no matter how far up the ladder I climb, no matter what city I drive to hoping for a better opportunity, I still find myself facing the same prejudice I've had to overcome as a little girl. As a Black woman, it can be scary to speak up, but it's also important for us all to speak up. Each time I have a meeting with my boss and I speak up for myself, when I experience another microaggression or I demand that we hire more Black journalists, or when I speak up for the Black community in West Michigan and the bias our station can perpetuate with certain coverage, I always keep in mind that I'm doing this now so that one day another Black woman can do this job easier and take it a step further. They call it radical with a negative connotation when we speak up. I read the comments, the hateful negative comments on the station Facebook when we announce we're doing a town hall, educating on what things like systemic racism is, for example. And I know people roll their eyes, say, here she goes with this again. Yet for me, each time I'm emboldened, my Black voice feels empowered and less fearful of the repercussions in Black voices, most importantly, because I recognize that I'm not alone. While I'm working to make it easier for the next Black woman, there are other incredible Black women, like the women we just heard from, working to make it easier for me, or who already have. And that's what keeps me going. And that's how I stay resilient.
That is powerful. Thank you so much, Christy, for sharing that, because what a wonderful show of self-love that it is to be able to show up in any environment and love yourself enough to stand for yourself, to honor yourself. And those of us born and raised in Kalamazoo, Michigan knows we can share that story with you. You know, knows what it's like to be able to go into environments that are not predominantly us and have to blend and fit in and defend and all that wonderful stuff, right? But again, it just makes us stronger. It just allows us to become a force of strength within ourselves, and confidently so, right? You just show up and be yourself, and the next thing you know, the ceiling has been broken. Thank you so much for sharing that powerful story coming from a young, powerful woman, because we need those examples as well.
Thank you so much.
Music. So we're going to go ahead and transition into this opportunity to marinate.
Love all women is law.
On this song.
I share the room
Close your eyes
of all women
and take it in.
I share in her pain, her glory. I know we have been through so much throughout the ages, with care of family, mothers, fathers, men, word, information, spirit, and with ourselves. It is time for law to resonate in my consciousness, to be more sensitive to the higher being with all women, especially within myself. I became, so we become. My divinity is no conspiracy. The proof is in the design of my body. I vow to birth her. I stretch, I break, I split, I bleed, I stretch wide open to birth my true life forth. I am a well-equipped woman for love, duty, care, responsibility, nobility, skillfulness, talent, prosperity, and diversity in my womanhood. I release any addictions and ego dancing to over-functioning for love. I vow to embrace my call, not because of attachment to expected outcomes, but because it feels good to. I feel value for who I am to myself, not for what I do to be valuable to others. I vow to evolve my dependence to independence to interdependence. My power is renewed when I play for pleasure and not to just check off my self-care list. I embrace the power of my breath. I know there is something more to that. I myself has always been that one, that person, that body, that human, that wealth, that woman, the plug, that spirit. That's on hood, womanhood. I vow to release all dark, patriarchal programming. The power I wield is from the heart, not from towering over and taking what I can get from others. I vow to unlearn the belief that oversharing, overextending is required to be loved and valued by others. The relationships I have now love me for my unapologetic depth, my alignment, the more true and grounded me, not my masks that reflect theirs. I vow to now embody the belief that love is everything it's cracked up to be. I release all learned cynicism. I vow to listen more to the intuition of my heart and womb than to the protests of my logical mind. I learn to balance them both. I vow to release and forgive all my tendencies to practice over-pleasing others. I take this historical moment in time to step into my destiny and leadership without losing my precious love and driven side of myself. I take a stand for the next generation of women to preach tenderness in our hearts and wisdom in our being, knowing this is what will make the difference in sharing the power with men. I vow to lean into the unearthing of all that ain't true in my life. I vow to close my eyes, take deep breaths, often to allow presence cascade down my spine. Revolution starts in relationship. I know as an awakened woman, I live as love without holding back, shutting down without shrinking truth. I burst into a full body yes to the callings of my heart. It's okay to be perceived as destroyed. Many don't understand growth and being seated. The highest expression of my divinity includes my flaws, my wounds, my truest glory. God bless everyone and everything that cracked me open. The world needs more open women. My life is feeling so soft all over. My embodiment as a whole is willingness towards restorative living. I won't prioritize my pride around my grind and hustle. I release that trendy mentality, not my style. I take pride in connection, purification of the heart, creativity and favor over my life. I learn to surrender and realize favor ushers me into places where work ethic could never. And what keeps me in those places is worth ethic. My womb appreciates this type of womaning. I don't subscribe to being the 24/7 warrior. I am the mama bear. My relationship with my womb is the wisdom way to myself, the expressive way with dance, feeling, radiating, holding, nurturing, birthing, prophesying, transmuting, sing and loving. I am the vessel of evolutionary consciousness for womanhood, humanity and spiritual revolution within myself. I revere my womb, honoring what her nutritional needs are, the products I use, and I do my due diligence to search out the information, to care for her. My self-care is my womb's honeypot. There's a difference between sacred confidence and profane vanity. My erotic nature will not be suppressed. Pop culture is not my teacher to express my erotic nature. I'm too holy for that. I anoint my skin with oils. I vow to welcome my superpower of my womb. My vow to take in splendor in the sensation of play. I vow to allow elegant exploration of what my womb needs. I vow to regard my womb as sacred. I pay attention to how it feels. I won't ignore what she speaks about everything. I vow to soften my heart, my speech, my thoughts with myself about life. I vow to be at ease when my womb is not at ease. I vow to make daily choices that nourish my womb. I vow to not depend on the West for my womb. I am knowing what my ancestors knew, to trust the body. Use what Earth gave us, and the body will follow. I vow to listen to what she needs. I vow to trust my womb, and I'm learning her voice each day of my life.
Ashe. You can open your eyes and we can continue this powerful woman conversation as we share from our hearts and our heart space stories of love and empowerment and inspiration. That song is significant, and that sometimes we get so caught up and seeing about everything and everyone else that we forget to sit back and just marinate in what makes us us, what makes ourselves tick, what is on our hearts, and what is our purpose as it relates to what we came to bring forth in this world. And so now that we've had a chance to sit with that and marinate on that, I'd like to go to our next guest and begin to talk from that level of our heart space. We've had significant conversations up until this point about remaining positive and determined, about being focused as we push to sustain and maintain as we also overcome, about forgiving ourselves and others as we move through the experiences of life that actually come to open us up and make us stronger. And then the last conversation we had with that young, powerful sister that talked about paving ways, paving a way for herself as she changes and switches the trajectory of her family, making a new way for those that will come beside her and after her. We're going to plug in now and speak with our sister Kathy in a very loving space about what you like to exchange from your heart and as it relates to what you've been through and what you like to share in this conversation.
Well, first of all, can you hear me?
Yes,
we
can hear you.
First of all, I'd like to tell everybody I'm very excited to participate in this live stream. I'm a nurse in the Kalamazoo community. I'm presently employed part-time at Borges Ascension. I'd like to tell the story of when I was a young student nurse and I met a young man, 17 years old, who was diagnosed with leukemia. As a student, I was ambitious and I wanted to encourage him to work through his grief. So I encouraged him to do his artwork. He was very grief stricken and he had a hard time speaking with me. But he ended up participating in occupational therapy. I ended up parting ways with him. I became an LPN and I was going to go on to become a registered nurse. I was working part-time at the hospital. I bumped into him in the hallway. He had lost all his hair. He looked like he was dying. I was terrified. I was so afraid that I was swallowed up with my fear. I couldn't deal with a young person dying of cancer. I just couldn't deal with it. I dropped out of nursing school. I was so ashamed that I was afraid. I was a young nurse, 19 years old. I couldn't do it. I was afraid. I was so afraid. So I ended up working as an LPN in the emergency department for years. And my husband encouraged me to go back to school. I'm so happy I did it. I'm so happy. I went back to school. Actually, I went to school 3 different times to become a nurse. I finally completed my nurse. I'm a registered nurse. And now I vow to, when young nurses are afraid and don't understand things, I say, please come to me. Please come talk it through. I want to encourage students to, if something happens that you're afraid and you need to take a break, to fear.
Looks like we may have a bit of a challenge with the connection, the Wi-Fi connection.
Yes.
I know that we have a video.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you now. I know that we have a video featuring Kathy, so we'll go ahead and watch this.
Okay.
I love all string instruments because they have such an instant connection to the heart. Excellent. Yes. Thank you, Kathy. That was beautiful. Kathy, can you hear us? So I'm gonna. Oh, okay. There you are. Yeah, that was beautiful, and so is your story. The ability to be a light in the midst of a challenge for others is very powerful. And I know that when I used to work in the whole workforce development realm, and right around the recession that around the 2008 era, how there was this huge push for more nurses, to be able to support the medical community. And we all know that whole process of education to become a registered nurse can be grueling. So to have somebody on the inside be a light bearer to empower others to not give up, to follow your dream, because you really have to have the heart of nurturing or being a nurturer to see that path, that career path all the way through. And sometimes as empathic people, that can be hard, you know, because you come across so much other, you know, the gamut of life to death, right? So thank you for being there to support others to stay the course, because
Yes.
they're so well needed. They're so well needed. And we understand the empathic role that they may play, but the important role that they can play if they just stayed the distance and went the course. Thank you for sharing. Is there anything you want to close with?
Thank you. Well, I just say people do not give up on your dreams. And
Yeah, so we're in, I think Stephanie is having a bit of experience of her own. Stephanie, so as we wrap with the video again, I know we got another guest that we'd like to bring forth to share her story and get in the heart chair. Yes. So as we finish out with Kathy's beautiful string rendition, we'll move into our next awesome story. I just want Mothers of Hope to know that this is really an amazing opportunity, event that you guys are hosting right here, and connecting women from all over to these stories, to the power in these stories. I love the violin too. So soothing. Beautiful. Yes. Thank you, Kathy. And welcome our beautiful, resilient sister, Lori Santiago. Boy, it's been a minute since I've seen you, love.
I know. This is wonderful.
What better energy to have in the heart seat right now than yours? I know that life has been there for you, has been a lot for you, has been good to you, and all these other wonderful things. So share with us your beautiful story of resilience, because I know you have.
Thank you so much. I want to say, first of all, thank you to Stephanie, to Mama Gwen, to Mothers of Hope, to you, because you always bring us that essential meal, the one that we need for the soul. I think a lot of times we talk about the body and we talk about the wonderful vessel that we have where we harness all our cosmic energy. And believe it or not, but the body, we can heal it with herbs, mud, whatever. But those wounds and the spirit are the ones that are so important, and we don't put that energy into talking about it and to finding ways of how to heal that. Stephanie asked me to kind of go back and forth in Spanish. So I'm just going to do a little bit in English, and then I'm going to try to remember to do fair translation in Spanish.
Okay.
So my story, I think, is just a little tiny piece of all the other stories that we have heard so far. I think my story is a story of, life happened and a lot of circumstances allow certain events in my life to occur. I am also a cancer survivor, like our sister Daphne and our she warrior hero Denise. And I can tell you this, cancer taught me how to be humble and how to open my eyes to the unknown and to wonder. I learned through cancer that the story, the lies that I told myself about me were just that, lies. I learned through cancer that, yes, I was strong, but at times I needed to also be weak and let others come to my rescue. And it was okay. It was okay to say, no, I'm not having a good day today. No, I don't have all my energy today. It was okay for me to be vulnerable and to show that side of me that often society told me, no, you're a woman. You have to be strong. You have to compete with the best. And that competition kind of state of mind, it was so difficult for me to kind of break down. I battled cancer twice, breast cancer. The first time I was terrified. I was scared. And pretty much I let the doctors do whatever they needed to do to me. No questions asked. I just closed my eyes and I said, I just want to live. I just had a beautiful little girl and I just want to live for her. The second time, it was different because now I have two beautiful little girls and a wonderful and amazing husband. And I thought, this is my life. I have to take responsibility of it and ownership of it. And this time we are going to work together. And that's what I told my team of doctors. And when they were calling the shots about my treatment, I will question and I will ask, why? And to this specific oncologist, I remember him telling me, you are becoming a difficult patient. You ask too many questions and I can fire you from my care. And I was like, go ahead. I don't care. It's my body. So needless to say, I did things different this time. It was the second time. So if something keeps happening to you, you need to find out where is it coming from, first of all, right? So I did some digging and I started looking into my ancestral lineage. Where did I come from? How did my people used to heal before? And I started learning about the body, mind, and soul. I started learning that, yes, I do have a body that I got to take care of it, but I also have a soul and a spirit that had been in the past wounded. When Shauna was talking about her story to me, that was so powerful because I feel that a lot of times as women, a lot of stuff happens in that book of ours of life, right? And there's so many chapters, but one chapter does not define you. It's just a chapter in that beautiful, wonderful book. When Shauna was talking about forgiveness in order to heal, that to me was like, it is so simple as that, but at the same time, it is so difficult. When Christy was talking about the ancestor power, she didn't say that, but that's what I capture. And I will hear her speak with such power, and a lot of times when we go to difficulties, we think that we're alone. I discovered the power of that ancestor power, the ones that they have come before me. I discovered that the power of herbs, the power of meditation. And that helped me in so many ways to kind of shift my mind into kind of like that embracing me for who I was. Not a perfect, not what the society has told us, that we should be, but me, just as I was, full of scars. Every scar in my body tells a story, and I wear them like medals, right? These are my battle medals. I've been through battle, and I survived, right? So for me, to be able to stay alive, not survive, but to stay alive and live life for my kids. We have 2 businesses now. Before I used to work as the executive director of this amazing nonprofit agency, the Hispanic Council. And during that time, I met so many wonderful and amazing women. And so all that, it kind of helped me to understand that I lived in a community where I have had all this support always available to me. And it was time for me to kind of tap into that and go back and talk to women about, how did you deal with this when you were going through this? What did you use? I want to say something real quick, and I'm going to see if I can go into Spanish. I want to check the time with you guys. But in Japan, when a precious porcelain piece get broken, they put it back together with gold. And now that porcelain piece, it increases in so much value because you're able to see where it got broken. So to me, when I see my life and when I hear the testimony of all these women, that's how I see us, like those precious pieces of porcelain that we have been broken, and our struggle is that gold. They kind of put us back together.
Yes, I love that. Yes. In the Western world, we separate the mind, the body, and the spirit. But the way God designed us, there is no separation. So when we go to take care of our body, it behooves us to also work on our mind and our spirit, to do just what you've done and reflect, reach back into the wisdom of the elders and the ancestors to pull everything back together. Like, we are not alone. We never, ever have to be alone. We just have to learn how to move in unison with our whole self. And that spirit, the soul of us, is housed within us. So that is powerful, Lori, for you to make those connections and to weave that connection to the conversations and the stories that came before you, because ultimately therein lies our resilience. That is how we are covered and protected to be resilient, because we've tapped into the soul and the spirit of who we truly are, the lineage, the ancestral connection, and the purposeful reason why we're here, to carry on. Absolutely. So you want to take a moment to share in Spanish?
Yes. Una de las cosas que yo quise compartir en esta plataforma ahorita y fue un poco de mi historia como sobreviviente de cáncer, que me dio 2 veces cáncer de mama. Una de las cosas que me gustaría compartir es que a través de eso yo aprendí un poco, ¿verdad?, acerca de quién soy yo. Me di cuenta de que ya una vez que había pasado 2 veces por cáncer, ahora que me había regresado una segunda vez, yo tenía que tomar cartas sobre el asunto y ver cómo iba a tratar con mi recuperación y quedar sana. y tomé una participación activa, mejor dicho, en mi tratamiento, hablando con mis doctores, y sí, estar más envuelta en mi tratamiento. Empecé a hacer a estudiar mucho y a tratar de ver por qué me estaba regresando este cáncer. E tuve una gran revelación que pues nosotros vivimos mente, espíritu y alma y cuerpo, y si yo solamente trataba el cuerpo, entonces qué acerca de esas heridas que tenemos o que no, cicatrices que tenemos, ¿verdad? O traumas que hemos pasado, ¿verdad? Cuando jóvenes. Una de las cosas que a través del testimonio que se han dado aquí de las otras grandes mujeres que han hablado, unas han sido sobrevivientes de cáncer, otras han pasado por muchas otras cosas. Yo hice una analogía al final, y es acerca de que en Japón, cuando una pieza de porcelana se rompe, la ponen y la pegan con oro. Y la razón por lo que hacen esto, porque esa pieza ahora tiene muchísimo más valor, porque sufrió, se rompió, y le ponen el oro para simple y sencillamente dejar saber que ahora pues ha pasado por algo, y solamente esa fractura pegada con oro la hace mucho más valiosa. Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul, for gracing us with your presence and your story. Your very, very powerful story of resilience. It's a wonder and a pleasure to see you again, Lori. Thank you. And we're going to move over into another amazing story. It's great to see you too, Damara. Hi.
Good to be in community with you. How are you?
I am wonderful and wonderfully united in this community, and grateful to have you now in the heart seat. A lot has been shared, and it's all interconnected, because at the essence of everything, we're one. We are human, and we share in the essence of all of these experiences. So I'm going to pass the heart to you and allow you to share and exchange with us your story of resilience.
Yeah, so I'll say that these last 3.5 years have been some of the most expansive time of my life and some of the most challenging time in my life. I've gone through a lot of changes. And I started on this journey in asking myself this question around, like, what does it mean to be joyful? And even before I started asking myself this question, I had realized that so much of my life I had spent pouring into other people, being a licensed therapist, being a certified professional coach, and an entrepreneur, and, having freedom schools for many years. And, my identity was really wrapped up in my work, and trauma was also wrapped up in my work. I didn't know it at the time. And so, for many years, I felt like I was making an impact. I was making an impact, and I've touched the lives of many, many people over the years, but I hadn't really done my work. And even during training, we talk about no self-harm as being a therapist, and the importance of doing our own self-work. And I had somehow thought that I had done that work. If you're familiar with the ACEs, I have a 7 score out of 10. But I went from, at 19, I met my husband. I was married by the time, my ex-husband, I was married by the time I was 22. I had my daughter at 25. And between all of that, I was showing up in the world and doing the work that I felt that the Spirit was calling me to do. And so I started to have these transitions that started to happen in my life, where I was really having to face myself in a way that I had never faced myself, because I didn't see myself necessarily needing to heal from the trauma that I experienced, because in part I was facilitating it through my work. And then I realized that the Spirit was calling me to do more for myself, particularly being in the space of wellness within Be Well, Beautiful Woman. And so it started me off on this journey, and this journey around you know, what does it mean to really love myself? What does it mean to really heal myself? What does it mean for me to be in a state of peace? And, you know, when I asked myself that question one day, of course, this is how manifestation works, right? The power that we have, which was a game changer for me. I got an email. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. I said, you know, like, what does it mean to be joyful? Like, can we even measure that? And 2 days later, I had an email in my from someone that was connected to the Healing Coalition that said that they were doing this group called May Cause Miracles for healers. So anyone who was out there touching the world in whatever way that they were doing it. And I knew that that was my call to action. So that started me off on this journey to really discover my power to not just heal myself, but my power to not be emotionally wrapped up in things that happen to me. This idea that, oh, I can witness what I feel, I can embrace what I feel, and I can choose to feel differently. Because a state of well-being is really a joyful state. It's a peaceful state. Gratitude in itself is the highest vibrational emotion that we can experience. Passion is the second highest vibrational emotion that we can experience. And so as I embarked on this journey, I hired a coach that had me working on my shadows. I really started to up my yoga practice. I became a Reiki master and practitioner. So all these things, of course, can help to heal the world, but it was really about healing myself first. And so that is a journey that we have to keep staying on. We choose to heal. We choose to be joyful. And so when I made that choice for myself, things really started to change. And I feel the most aligned that I've ever felt in my life, even though much of my life is different than it was 3 years ago. And the core of who I am is very much the same. And as I have healed, I have been able to discover all of these other parts of myself and to become integrated, right? Because a lot of times when we have trauma, we literally break, right? And there are parts of ourself that we disassociate with. And so the goal is to reintegrate into who we are, the darkness, the light, so that we can rise into our power. And again, like making a choice every day to heal, to be joyful, to be peaceful, and to understand the inherent power that we have with the spirit to co-create our lives. So that's the story.
Yes. You have said, you can preach the sermon, girl. I mean, yes, all of that, because society will wire us to believing that everything that we do needs to be done outside of ourselves or for others than ourselves. When the truth of the matter is, as a healer, your first client is yourself. You know, you are your first client, and I get a lot of praise for curating these kind of spaces, but the truth of the matter is, I'm just creating what I need. You know, I create out of what works for me, and believing the blessing that others can be healed as well. And so, yes. There's a book that came to mind when you were talking that I read years ago called All the Joy I Can Stand. I don't know if you're familiar with that book. The Marina Jackson Gandy, All the Joy, it's 101 Sacred Power Principles for Making Joy Real in Your Life. It's powerful. I encourage you to embrace it. And anybody else in that matter, for that matter, that is just seeking to create the core proving ground of joy. Because that's what I stand in. Like, joy is joy first, and everything comes out of that. You know what I mean? Because once you get that joy, you have that balance, that divine balance that God created polarity for, right? And so, yes, I can do all this over here, but I got to make sure I do something over there. You know what I mean? To keep me harmoniously still and in balance.
Come on. So that's how we become super attractors, right? So the more joy we have, the more we can bring in. And so thank you so much. I can't wait to see you again soon.
Yes. Thank you, sister. It was powerful. Thank you for sharing. And we're going to go to this young, vibrant, amazing young lady. Hey, Jakayla.
Hello.
It's wonderful to see you.
You too.
And thank you for showing up and representing another young voice in this conversation, because we're all important. We are all here because we're all interconnected, intergenerationally so, and your voice and your experiences are equally as powerful and important as all of ours, right? So now that you're in the heart seat, share with us a story of resilience that you have been allowed to in your space to overcome in your life.
Okay. So if I can be completely 100 with you, I think I'm still going through my story right now. I have reached the point, okay, well, let me backtrack. So I had a wonderful life. I grew up in a two-parent home, a two-parent loving home. I didn't realize how important self-love was until I became an adult and was on my own. Let's see. Shona spoke about kids, and I really think I call Kaylana my lifesaver because I was at a point in time where basically I didn't want to be here anymore. I lost my dad. My dad was my best friend. I was in a relationship. I was in a happy relationship, but I wasn't happy with myself, and I wasn't feeling loved enough, and I didn't want to be here. And then maybe a week after I went through my depression stage, I found I was pregnant with Kaylana, and Kaylana has helped me to love myself more. She has helped me to become a great mother, a great person. And when I say I think I'm still going through my story, because I still struggle to love myself, even though I still love myself more than I have before. I have my days, I have my good days, I have my bad days. So I've started seeking help. I went through a terrible, terrible time where I didn't want to talk to anybody. I didn't want anybody to know my business. I still struggle to ask people for support now. But yeah, I think I'm still going through my story. I'm still learning how to love myself. I've been using books. People have been talking about manifestation. I've been saging. I've been doing all that. So yeah. So yeah, that's my story. My story is I'm still going through my story.
And that's a beautiful testament, thank you for keeping it 100, because when you can acknowledge that you are in a struggle or you are having challenges is when you can open yourself up enough to receive the love and support that you need to get through them, right? Most of the time we suffer because we're so silent about it. We rather just get up and beat our face and put on some cute clothes and, move around like everything is good without acknowledging everything ain't good. And the truth of the matter is, in life, everything ain't always good. It don't always feel good. We have to heal in order to be good, right? And so thank you so much for being honest and loving of yourself enough to be transparent and tell the truth. Like, I'm going through it. I feel myself going through it right now. And but I'm loving myself because I'm getting support as I get through it, you know what I mean? And I'm open to trying new things. I'm doing some things that I wasn't doing before, and they helping me in the ways that they are helping me. And that, my love, is resilience. That's how you build the resilience, is you allow yourself to be open, to be supported, because in life, we're connected. It was never intended for us to be disconnected. That's why you carry that baby in your womb, connected to you with that umbilical cord. And even when the cord is cut, she's still in your arms. She's still on your chest. She's still close to your heart. She's still on your mind. You know what I'm saying? There is no disconnecting from the rest of the universe. So thank you for being so honest. And I send you lots of love, 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 and light. And I know you're surrounded already by a very supportive and loving community. And I hope that you can be representative of any other young woman or woman in general who's going through, can use some support and ends up receiving it, because that is what Mothers of Hope is here for. We're here to be supportive. I love you.
I love you too. Thank you for being on the show.
Yes, and I thank you for being here and being just beautifully here, you know? Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing, Jakayla. So I'm going to move now, as we are in the process of wrapping. I want to move into the beautiful energy of Dr. Cheryl Dixon. Wasn't that awesome for that young
Oh my
sister?
gosh, you brought me to tears. Honestly, I'm so happy that we had the time to actually hear your story, Jakayla, because that's what it's about. I actually put that in the chat, and I think that's what this show is about. It's like we have to love on each other, and that's what I'm feeling, the love on each other, and you have to be able to speak up. To speak up and know, speak up is the first thing that I need to, I'm having a hard time. Because that's what sisterhood is about.
Yes,
it's
that
about
is
that,
so true.
being able to speak up, and then, we surround you.
That's right.
We are your village.
That's right. And we have been where you are. We know what that feels like.
You know what it feels like. That's what your elders in your community are about. That's what we're here for. It's our experience, and it's what we can do to help support you through. And so your story is just touched my heart. After everyone's story has touched my heart, because it's just so important, everything everyone has said. I love the fact that Christy, when she was talking about, feeling that, she has to lift up the position she's in. It's important for her to be there as a young person of color, to be that person, and sometimes being the only one, it is hard. That's my story. It's like being the only one I'm a physician, and early on in medical school, and even still now, there are not enough of us in medical school. And we are usually always the minority and the minority. And it's always that you have to have that resilience to actually be able to make it through. And the way that we've made it through is actually holding on to each other and helping each other throughout our training. And also, being uplifted by the community we serve. And so for me, that's still the truth. It's the community I've served since I was in medical school in my hometown in Newark. As a young medical student, one of the driving forces for me to stay on and keep doing what I was doing was because I did not like seeing what was happening to our people. Those health disparities and things that we're seeing, and I don't even have to say it because you all know that COVID is just, to me, was no surprise. Because it's just a mirror of what our people have gone through and still go through, with the differences in how you get treated in healthcare. That's why it's so important that we are there for us, that women and men of color, because we need to care for our people. And we need to also be present in the majority to be able to show them and speak up, to tell them about how they need to be doing better, what they're doing in terms of the discrimination and the inequity and the systemic racism that we know is at the root of the disparities that we see still. And it's like, so our duty is not just taking care of the patient, but our duty is for the next one behind us. And it's also for making sure that, we're keeping them righteous in what they're doing, that we can call it out. And so as hard as it is, and it has not been easy, I won't, sit here and say, and I think any one of us as an African-American physician will tell you that it is not easy. It has not been easy for us. But what keeps us going is God. God has given us the gift. He's given us the purpose. I'm grateful for that, to know that that's been my purpose, that, this is what I'm called to do until he tells me I'm done. But that with that, I am also helping to actually, part of it is that I always have a hand here to bring that next person. Because as an example for that other young person to say, you did it, you look like me, I can do it. And that's the message I continue to go forward with in the programs I do, and that it's important that, You know, I did it and it was not easy, but you can do it too. And I'm going to be here to kind of help you. We band together to make sure that that happens. And I also have to say that even as that person, I was listening to Lori's story, and I love the story about the golds and the ceramics because I love
right.
because we all get broken, you know, and even as a, you know, physician, I got broken. 2 years ago, I had nerve impingement. I couldn't walk. And you know, I don't have family here, but I have family here. My sisters in this community banded around me, Mothers of Hope, Denise, a lot of people that are on this program banded around me and made me know that I could get better and that I was a survivor and that I could continue my work. So that resilience that, you know, you have to draw on it. And there are times you feel like you just can't go on. That's when I go to prayer. And that's when I also go to God. And, you know, I also say, what is it that I know I need to do this work. And you know what I need to do to do this work. And I know why I'm doing this work, because it's not about me. It is really not about me. It's about who I serve, who I am serving, and who I have to make sure that others, because we are not enough yet, but the others are doing right by our community. So I guess that's my story, and kind of like what kinds of things are my purpose that kind of keep me going. And my sisters.
That's right. We are a drop of water in the ocean that makes us the ocean, right? And collectively, we all matter. Every single one of us has something to contribute to the community, and collectively, we work that community, our magic in that community, to create the masterpieces that we, you know, are able to talk about at the end of the day. There is no silos. There is no islands around here. This is a collective of love and power and unity that keeps us going as women, right? Because we've all been through something that's probably very relative to what the next one is going through, which is why we can be here for our young sister. We can be wise at the foot of our elder sister. We can be interconnected to our ancestral sisters. Like, we are one, regardless to the language, the place that we were born in, the you know, the background in which we work. We have something in common, and it is love for ourselves and each other. And as long as we keep pouring love into our own karmic bank, we will always be able to cash it out with that porcelain gold that our sister talked about. Because we're valuable. We're valuable. Every nick, every wound, every bump and bruise brings value to our lives, to our destiny, strengthens who we are, and allows us to be valuable to others in our community. So I want to thank you all for this very powerful conversation. I want to thank you, Stephanie, my wonderful, beautiful baby sister, for pulling all of this together. I want to thank Mothers of Hope and my just amazing example of what it's like to be a she-roll, my mother, our mother, Gwen, for this platform that Mothers of Hope has given us. And I want to thank you all as a community, as a local and national and global community, love and womanhood and power. Thank you all for joining us.
I just want to share just a couple of housekeeping things for everyone that pre-registered. And if you are going to get a bag, a goodie bag, we still have some available. Feel free to contact us and you can come pick them up. I have to tell you that the goodie bags are completely amazing. Mrs. Pat Davis with Davis Delectables have put some really good sweet treats in there, from chocolate covered strawberries to brownies and cookies. We have Margaret Anderson of C. Chloe's, who has given us body scrubs and creamy body butter. She makes her own lipstick and lip gloss. That's in the bag. We have a lot of donations of makeup and nail polish. Of course, your essentials when it comes to hand sanitizers, face masks. We want you to feel good, look good, smell good, and be safe. Remember, we are still in a pandemic. Also, for all of the ladies, and I believe we had about 60 who won a free gift certificate. 20 ladies won a free makeover with Mugged by Mira. If you haven't already made your appointment, please do so. The certificates are good for the month of February. About 20 something of y'all got certificates for hairdos with Sierra, with Queen C. Again, if you haven't made your appointment, please do so. We want you to take some time to love on you. Also, some folks wanted oil changes. So many of you actually got gift certificates to get your car oil changed. We were trying to find different things that people wanted that can help you be in a space to be better, not just during this Valentine season, but to remember to love on yourself all the time. We do have two quick asks. Everyone that registered, you received a survey, two surveys from us. Please take a moment, and I will put the links in the chat. Please take a moment to complete the survey about your experience here today. And then we've also asked everyone to complete the ACEs survey, which is the Adverse Childhood Experiences. Dr. Dixon, you want to touch on that for a quick minute? On what the ACEs is?
So ACEs is about 10 questions, and it kind of looks at, what you might have experienced during your childhood. The score is from 1 to 10. Usually the higher your score is associated with certain things later on in life, certain chronic illnesses, some certain other problems like obesity and depression and other things. I think what's important though about doing the ACEs score is that you just don't do that in isolation, because really a lot of us have ACEs. It is not something that is just us. It is when they've done it and when they actually did the research across the country, most people have had at least one ACE, most people. And that's all income levels, all genders, all races. But what's important, I think, is that your resilience level, which we've been talking about today. I think someone shared their ACEs score, I'm not quite sure, but high ACE scores, like I said, usually are more associated with problems, but it doesn't mean that you actually have to have that experience define you. So really it's the resilience and actually understanding what it means helps you to then be able to say, maybe if I'm having some problems, that I do need to, like Jakayla said, I need to speak up. And I need to say that I need some help in this area so that I can build my resilience.
Yeah, about a month after I released my book, I was blessed with being invited to the White House under the Obama administration to participate in the trauma-informed initiative, which included the ACEs and the resilience study. And about a month ago, I was blessed to be able to get access to the documentary that was created from that initiative that features Dr. Nadine Harris Burke, or Burke Harris, who I worked under with that initiative. I would love to share the documentary. I don't know if you guys ever got a chance, Mothers of Hope, to get the documentary, but I'd love to share it with you all, to be able to share it with the community, because it's powerful in terms of really explaining in a layman way the power and the beauty and the benefit, healing power of that process.
Awesome. Well, Yolanda, we're going to be closing up. Again, I will put the links to everything here on this live stream. Please take a moment, regardless if you registered or not, to complete our surveys, complete the ACEs. That helps us drive our work. That helps us to do programs like this. And Yolanda, I think we'll give each lady 45 seconds for a last word. And then Yolanda, you just take us right on up out of here.
So I want to say thank you, ladies, for sharing in this heart exchange. And we're just going to go through the heart seat and ask you guys for some closing words. We'll start with Daphne. There you go.
what a great session. And I want to say that, and I was just, your current is not your final destination. Just know that. And I love that we all are connected together and know that the community is here for everyone.
Ashe, thank you. And Denise?
Absolutely. Thank you. And your story is your power. So just stay focused and stay true to yourself.
Ashe, thank you so much. Christy?
I just want to say, remember that you're not alone in the path that you're walking. Someone else has probably walked that path or paved a way for you as well, and someone's willing to guide you and hold your hand. So that helps you stay resilient and feel loved.
Absolutely. Thank you, thank you, thank you for that. Lori?
I just want to say thank you to you too. I mean, you're always putting something like this together, and it's wonderful. And love yourself. We're not perfect, but embrace yourself with everything you got. That we have ancestors that they're watching over us. So just that, love yourself.
Thank you. And we love you because you spot it, because you got it. You can see beauty and power because you are beauty and power. Thank you so much, Lori. Damara?
Yeah, so a couple things. I want to say that healing, it's a lifelong journey. And so we keep doing the work. And as we do the work, we get to discover new aspects of who we are and know there's always more in every shape and form. Ask the spirit for what we want anytime we want it and believe that it's coming our way. Make sure that your yes is like hell yes, and that your no means no. And be really gentle with yourself on the journey. Be compassionate towards yourself, and rid yourself of shoulds. There is no shoulds. You are where you are at this moment in your life. Embrace that, love that, and then make a commitment to be better, whatever that means for you. You too. I love you both so much, and can't wait until next time, ladies. Peace.
Yes, peace. Thank you for that's right. Stop shooting on yourself. This ain't about that. It's just it is what it is. You do what you came to do, and it's done the way it was done. Thank you. And the powerful young voice of Jakayla. What would you say in this closing?
I would like to say thank you for allowing me on this panel. This event has opened my eyes a lot, and I appreciate everybody who is in my support system and in my support group. And yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We appreciate you. Very powerful impact that you brought to this conversation today. And I just want you to know that we love you. We appreciate you, and we thank God for you because your voice matters like everyone else's. Thank you so much. And then I see we have Dr. Dixon.
So I just want to thank you, Yolanda and Stephanie and Mothers of Hope. You always do bring these wonderful, meaningful conversations to the community, and I think everyone always feels better. I know I feel better always when I'm in any of these. And I guess my message is to, when you're going through those hard times and you think you're alone, you're not. You do have a village, and you have to. My friends have taught me that, which my friends are on this show. One is sitting right by you right now. That they're there for you, and you have to be able to. It's no shame in asking and saying, I need some help. Can you just come and sit with me? So they taught me that. So thank you.
And that's powerful, because when we listen to society sometimes, we feel betrayed just in the pop culture aspect of how women are portrayed as being not so nice to each other. It's good to have living examples of us really being good to each other. All you have to do is open up your mouth and trust and believe that God has the right people around you to support you, and you will be supported. And it's been an absolute pleasure working alongside you in many of these efforts, and receiving the input that you always bring to the conversation as well. Thank you so much, Dr. Dixon.
Thank you.
And I want to say thank you to the entire community. This was powerful, right? The day before Valentine's Day, us getting a chance to take an hour and a half out the day to just love on ourselves. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like it. Watching and listening and connecting to the reflections of ourselves in the mirror, because as one of my most powerful teachers, Iyanla Van Zant, has always shared, there's nobody in the room but you and God. At the end of the day, what you're experiencing are simply reflections of what you're experiencing. And to be able to unite and connect and align and acknowledge that which you are experiencing so that it can help you grow and evolve and expand and expound and become better is a powerful, beautiful thing. So love yourself, hug yourself, tell yourself, I love you, as you go in and through experiencing love this holiday weekend, this Valentine's Day weekend. It's been a pleasure. In love and gratitude. Take care.